Hello amigos and welcome back to my Hermes series. This is episode número 3, number 3, and today I think this is a really another important topic, probably maybe the most important topic I think out of all of them that I want to do for this series, and that is of course building your relationship with your sales associate. That's right, we're gonna touch on that, so stay tuned. Welcome back, bienvenidos amigos to all of you. Welcome. If you actually are new here, bienvenidos. It's a pleasure having you here. Thank you for joining me for this series of Hermes videos that I wanted to do, because as I said, this is my mission. It is my mission to spread the word that it's not as costly and complicated to build your profile with Hermes and to build a relationship with a good sales associate, because you do want to find a good sales associate, which is what we're going to touch on. But that's my mission. And so that's the purpose of these videos. And so I hope you are enjoying them. As I said before in other videos, please, if you have any comments, any questions, put them down in the comment section. Any feedback, and this way, if there's something that you want me to touch on, and one of the topics that I have already scheduled, I can add that in there, or we'll do a Q&A at the very end. But today is building the relationship with the sales associate, and this is going to be my experience, what's worked for me. If you have followed my channel, then you'll know that I have various relationships with a few sales associates. My primary sales associate that I purchased from is out in Dallas. I am in the state of Texas. And then I also started a relationship with a sales associate in Austin because that is closer to me. And then I have also made purchases in Cancun, Mexico. So I do have a relationship there. Different profiles. Mexico is not attached to the US profile, at least the last few times that I have shopped there. This, of course, series is as of November 2025. And they are, of course, combining some of the profiles across, the different countries. So as of the last time I purchased in Mexico, my profile in the United States was not visible to them. So what I would say is, number one, depending on where you want to shop, where you live, is decide where you want to make your home store, where you want to primarily shop. And this is what was told to me by my SA, is decide on where you want to primarily purchase, because that's where you want to go ahead and build your profile, right? The very first purchase that I made for Hermes was for a handbag that I wanted to get while I was on vacation. It was a souvenir, okay? That handbag was purchased in the South Coast Plaza mall in California. And I just happened to purchase that handbag because I was there and I took advantage of low sales tax, which I've covered that before in a video. But when I decided to really focus on building a profile so that I could receive an offer for a quota bag, I needed to decide which store I wanted to shop at. And at the time, the only boutiques in Texas were in Dallas and in Houston. And so when I met the SA, because we happened to be in Dallas, for like a little weekend trip, she said, you need to decide what store is going to be convenient for you and where you want to primarily shop and build this profile. She was like, so if it's easier to get to Houston, she's like, then I would recommend that you start to buy and build your profile there. And she's like, but if you're okay with coming over here to Dallas, she says, then that's fine. She goes, because the handbag, I will not be able to ship it to you. She goes, so if we do offer you a quota bag, she was like, that's not a bag that they would ship, especially like if it's your first one. Now, whether certain boutiques make exceptions because maybe it's your second or your third, or you're already an established client with them, they may make exceptions, but especially for your first offer, like I had to go in store to pick it up. And so we said, no, this is where, we want to shop in Dallas. What worked for me was that I, number one, would suggest, if you are truly, truly interested in building this profile and establishing a good relationship, is make a point. For me, what worked is go during the week, do not go on the weekend. That's a no bueno. Right away, I'll tell you that is a no bueno. Don't go on the weekend. Take time to go during the week. And that's what I did. I called the store because, again, this was during COVID times. And so some stores, you had to like really make appointments. But even after COVID, I have always called the store, especially like for Chanel or Hermes. Even now that we're out of COVID, I always call the store, and I always ask to see if I could, schedule an appointment, because then this way I already have a time slot where I'm going to meet with somebody, and they usually always accommodate. And Hermes always has accommodated, with the exception of Cancun, and really in Cancun, you don't need it. But especially in the States, I have always called ahead and scheduled an appointment. So for my very first visit, when I decided to build my profile, because the one in California, we just walked in. But I scheduled my appointment, and I scheduled it first thing in the morning when they opened. And the young lady that answered the phone when I called to schedule it, she said, "I'll be your sales associate. You'll come in here and you'll meet with me." And she said, "This is my cell phone number." She said, "You can go ahead and let me know if there's anything that you would like for me to go ahead and, pull for you, if there's something that you're interested in." And so I took advantage of that. I had already gone onto the site, and I had already images of pictures that I was interested in, of things that I wanted to see, because of course my city doesn't have a local boutique. So I already had things already in mind that I wanted to see when I met with my sales associate. And it was just nicer during the week and in the morning, because you have their attention. On Saturdays, it is way too crazy. It's way too crazy. And every boutique that I have visited, and everywhere, it's a different vibe. It is a different clientele. It's a different clientele and vibe in Houston. Totally different for Dallas. And it's completely different for Austin. It's really interesting when you are there and you're taking the time to look. The vibe and the clientele in all of the boutiques that we have gone into in Florida, in Texas, and in California, and in Cancun, it's completely different. So be mindful of that when you go. Pay attention, because it's really, really interesting when you really start to notice that and scope that out. But go during the week. That would be my best advice. Take time to go during the week, because it's calmer and you're going to have more attention with them, so you can get to know them, which leads to my second point. Get to know your sales associate. Ask them questions. Don't just go in focused of you, like, I want to see this, I want to see this, I want to see this. And what's it going to take to get to be on a Birkin? Can I get on a wish list? That kind of thing. As my mom would say in Spanish, maderealos, like, make them at ease with you, have them get comfortable with you, build that good relationship with them, right? So that way you're getting to know them. Especially if you are by yourself, if you're going on your own, take the time to engage in those questions as you are, meeting them and getting to know them, and you're getting to assess them and their personality, right? And so when I say maderealos, like, that in Spanish, it's kind of be like, be complimentative, be, just be very kind, be very approachable, right? Like, you want to build that good rapport with them and get to know them. Just ask them questions about, them, like, how long have they been, how long have they been working with Hermes? Where did they come from working before? It's interesting to find out what they did before prior to working to Hermes, because they have other lives, like even like hobbies. Like, just take that time to be also, rather social, as you're looking at things, right? For me, that is what has really, really helped us. The second, the third point, I should say, of what was beneficial for me was my husband and I were actually rather like a team when we went, because my husband is very interested. He takes interest in the things that I do like. He pays attention to that. And he's also extremely, extremely patient. And so he'll go with me when we go shopping, or he gives me his opinion on things that I'm interested in, whether it's handbags, shoes, or whatever. So he's very patient, right? Sometimes some spouses are not patient. They have no interest in shopping at all. And my husband is not a shopper. As I said, he could care less about luxury. He doesn't care for it at all. He doesn't care for shopping, period. Like, he doesn't like to shop, but he'll go with me. And he's interested in the things that I'm interested in, if that makes sense. So he's really, really patient, and he gets along well with a lot of the sales associates that I interact with, no matter, what store we're in, right? He just has that personality where he's just very kind to the grocery store clerk. How's your day? How's your day going? That kind of thing. He's very engaging. And so, because I made the appointment and he went with me, since we were in Dallas for the weekend, and I made my appointment there at that boutique. And as I said, every boutique is very, very different, because in Dallas it's Highland Park. There's a lot of money out there, right? So your clientele, it's a busy store, so your clientele is pretty big out there. But we went in the morning. It was the first one, and so as I had my items that I had sent to the sales associate of things that I wanted to look at, she was pulling them out, because it's a 2-story floor, and we were looking at things on the bottom floor. And then I was like, okay, well, I really want to look at leather goods and the shoes and all of that. So we went up to the second floor. So as we were there, and I was looking at all the items, and she was pulling them out, and I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm looking at everything that she's showing me, she's bringing out for me. But my husband, he was the one that was engaging with her, right? So he's the one making conversation with her. So how's your day been? How's your morning, or whatever, this and that. And like, so how long have you been with Hermes? Like, he just started the conversations with her, and I'm listening in, and I'm chiming in as to, her responses with him. And at the same time, I'm looking at items, but then I'm also being respectful of the store, and her time. And I was asking her, like, is it okay if I take a picture of this? Because on that day, she had like all the pinks of like the Calvi card holders. She had all the pinks. I don't know if she had Rosacor, but she had all of the pinks that I was like, oh my gosh, and I was trying to decide on which one that I wanted, and I was trying to associate the name with the color. And so I remember vividly, I took a picture. I was like, do you mind if I take a picture of the color so I can remember, which one is which? I was like, because this way in the future, if there's something that I want to ask you for in that color, I'll remember what it looks like. And she says, yes, of course. So I was also still getting to know her, looking at the items that I was interested in, but then still being respectful of, my time and what I am doing there at the store. So this way I'm not just taking pictures when I shouldn't be taking pictures, right? I want to make sure that I'm respectful enough and courteous enough to ask that. But it was just engaging and getting to know her, and who she was and how long she had been with the company and what she did before. Same thing with my Hermes SA in Austin, when they opened up the Austin store. It's a brand new store. Everybody's new, right? Like, pretty much everybody is new. So either they've transferred maybe from another Hermes boutique, or they came from the outside and they are new to Hermes, right? So when I met with my Hermes SA in Austin, I asked him, I was like, hey, so, did you come from another, where did you work for before? Have you worked for Hermes and you transferred here? Or did you work somewhere else? And he was like, oh, actually, I worked at the Salvatore Ferragamo at the outlet mall. And it was like, oh, okay. And so that engages in more, you're able to engage in more conversation, like, oh, well, I have a Ferragamo bag. And so you're starting to build interest in one another. You have so we had that commonality because I love the brand, and that's where the brand that he used to work for. So you're starting to, just be able to have like other conversations to where it's not just really focused like on Hermes. You're engaging more about them, learning about them. Where are you from? Are you from here, from Austin? And he actually was here from San Antonio. So it's just, that's what I'm saying. It's just the conversation and you getting to take the time to get to know the person. And this is how you're going to know whether you're going to click with them right away. If they're engaging, or if this is, what, you're not feeling it. You're not getting a good vibe from this person, because if you're not getting a good vibe from that person, then you want to know right away that this is not, you want to cut ties. You need to find somebody else, because that sales associate, the relationship that you have with them, they're the ones that they're going to advocate for you, right? They're the ones that are going to go to bat. They're going to advocate for you to go and ask for the approval from their manager to offer you a bag, right? So it's important. It's important your approach with the sales associate. You want to have that good connection. You want to get to know them. Not coming off like kind of brazen or harsh, like, well, what's it going to take to get a quota bag, or asking very upfront, like right away for it. For us, we waited until we had already had some engagement, had some time with her, engaged with her, got to know her. I was looking around at different items. I was looking at their accessories. I was looking at their shoes. I had already set aside, items that I was going to buy. I had already said, okay, yes, I want this, I want that. I was taking my time to look at things there, getting to know her. And it wasn't until towards like the end of our appointment, because we had an hour appointment with her. And again, we're being mindful of and respectful of her time, that at the end, right before our appointment ended, my husband just happened to politely ask her, like, hey, by the way, I know my wife is interested in, a handbag, is there, what's the process for that? And is there maybe possibly like a wait list? He says, I know it's already the end of the year and it's going to be Christmas time. He goes, so I know Christmas is a long shot, but is it possible that maybe you have like a wait list that we could be considered for, to be put on a wait list for a handbag? And right away, she was like, yes, of course. She says, do you know which handbag you want? Because we have 3. She was like, we have the Birkin, we have the Kelly, and we have the Constance. And I said, no, I really would like a Birkin. And then we started to talk about sizing, because she only had, so many. At the time, it's not like now where they have a lot of them on display. Like, you didn't have any quota bags on display. You just had other types of handbags, and they were like 1 or 2, not a lot. And so so we talked about that, and she says, do you want regular? Do you want exotic? So she was already starting to ask some questions, and I said, nope, no exotic, just like, like leather. And she says, yes, of course. She says, just send me what you're interested in. Send me like your wish list. And, and she says, this way we can go ahead and, keep that under consideration, as, things, if something comes available. And so we were like, okay. And we left it at that. There was no other like pressure type of engagement to where we were really bringing it up even more. It was just the fact that she was very accepting, very open to when my husband happened to just politely bring it up. And she says, yes, of course. She says, just send me your wish list. And then I made a couple of purchases and I was out the door. But build that relationship. To summarize, our topics for today is to, number 1, pick the boutique that you want to shop at. What's going to be most convenient for you, right? Second, take the time to get to know your sales associate. And to do that is I recommend that you make an appointment. Call to see if they can book an appointment with you, so you know that you have scheduled time, and do it during the week. If during the week is not possible for you and you can only go on a Saturday, then for sure call and see if you can schedule an appointment with somebody, so that way you can already have a time to meet them to meet them on that day, because Saturdays are going to be crazy and their attention is not going to be, you know, just know that you're not going to have that much of a focused attention, because you're kind of have to hurry and be in a hurry, because they may already have an appointment after you, especially if you maybe are going earlier in the morning or midday. A lot of times I kind of schedule my appointment at the end of the day. Now that I have an established relationship with my sales associates, I'll tell them, put me towards the end of the day so I'm your last person. Because in this way, you know, they're not in a rush to hurry up and see their next client. That has worked best for me now that I have established relationships. Get to know them, ask the questions, find out if you are, you know, having a good connection with that person. And if not, then, you know, this way, you know, you need to then try again with somebody else. And because especially if you're going on a Saturday and it's just not working out, then try again with somebody else, maybe, and make it a point to go like during the week, so your time is a little bit more focused, more dedicated, your attention, you're able to get to know that person a lot better. So those are my recommendations for building a relationship. That's what's worked for me, for both of my sales associates, where I primarily shop at in Dallas and in Austin. And they are building a store here in San Antonio. Maybe possibly supposed to be open in 2026, but they will be opening one here. So I will have one eventually local to me. And they're going to be opening it over kind of like in the downtown area. You know, our city is known for the Riverwalk. So there's an area called the Pearl. They're supposed to be opening it up there. So maybe hopefully in 2026, they will you know, hopefully open that one. And eventually we'll see if I end up starting a relationship, you know, purchasing here at my local boutique when that does open, or if I pretty much continue to maintain my relationships primarily where I have them now. And we'll see. Time will tell if maybe one of those associates end up moving over here to San Antonio. That's always a possibility, because it has also been mentioned that it's a possible consideration. So we'll see. Those are my tips for today in relationship building, and building your relationship with an Hermes sales associate. I hope these tips are helping for you. If you have any questions, again, don't forget to put them down in the comments section, and we'll touch on them on another different video. I hope y'all have a wonderful and blessed day, and class will be back in session on Thursday. So I hope to see you then. Hasta la próxima, amigos. Until next time. Bye-bye.